Hello and welcome to EmpoweredWomenSummit.net. Thank you for joining us. I hope that our guests will enlighten, empower, and enrich your life.
Hello, everyone. Today we're here with Pearl Elizee, my best friend from Orlando. She's taken some time out of her busy schedule to discuss with us her outlook on relationships. Hello, Pearl. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing in, I guess, sunny Orlando? Is it sunny over there?
About this time, yes, it is.
Yes?
Everything's good. Yes.
Miami, it's been kind of rainy today, so hopefully our rain won't travel to your area.
Well, it did earlier today, but as of this time, it's pretty sunny and dry.
Okay, good. So then maybe hopefully we'll get some of your sun.
Yeah.
Today we're going to discuss with Pearl Elizee her outlook on relationships. And just to give you, the listener, an idea of how the call will flow, we're basically introducing Pearl. Once we're done, we're going to go into the discussion. We have a few questions on the table for Pearl. Once we're done with that, we're going to do the closing. And, of course, we want to invite you, our listeners, to post your discussions if you have any follow-up questions. If you want to discuss any of the topics or the questions in detail, post this interview. You'll have the opportunity to do so. Hopefully, this discussion will be so great that you all will want us to schedule an actual live conference call with Pearl to discuss some of her views or outlooks on relationships. So let's get started. Are you ready, Pearl?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. We get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Pearl Elizee Lake. Originally born in Dominica, grew up in the Virgin Islands, St. Croix to be exact. And I am no expert on marriage. However, I've been married 10 years. And I think I have just a tad bit of insight to share with whomever is interested.
Awesome, awesome. Well, if you ask me, 10 years of marriage definitely makes you a professional. I don't know what our listeners would think, but I think 2 years makes you a professional if you've been married that long. So let's just get down into it, the nitty-gritty, and start with, what do you think about sex before marriage? Do you think it's appropriate?
Sex before marriage. Even though it is much more prevalent in this day and age, as far as being appropriate, I would more say, is it beneficial?
Okay, so then let's change it. Do you think it's beneficial before marriage?
To some extent, I think so. I think it may not be with most of our religious upbringing, but as far as knowing the person that you're with and understanding more in depth,
okay,
and that person's philosophy, that person's aura, I think sex plays a huge part. Most people tend to be a little more relaxed, a little more themselves once there's intimacy involved.
Okay. So then basically it's you think, in your opinion, that it's something that you should definitely not judge, not going in saying, no, I'm not going to do this before marriage.
Correct. But, however, I'm not saying you should or should not. What I'm saying is I think there's an advantage to getting sexually involved with the individual prior to marriage, but, however, there are rules that goes along with it.
Okay, now you touched a very touchy topic there, rules. What would those rules be? Like, in your opinion, what would they be?
For me, I would encourage whomever that's looking to find out whether or not that individual is intimately compatible or sexually compatible, that you attempt to get involved with caution, lots of caution. First rule, don't have sex for just having sex sake. Make sure that that person is somebody that you really want to be with, that person, you consider that person to have values and morals that you do. That person is compatible in many other different ways, and the sexual intimacy that you're looking for is the final piece of the puzzle, so to speak. You're going into that just to make sure that, okay, that aspect is where you would like it to be, as well as everything else.
Right.
And that would be the number one reason why you are getting sexually involved with that individual prior to marriage.
So then basically the number one rule for you would be basically to get to know that person intimately, to make sure that that you and that person are actually compatible, and not finding out 5 and 20 years down the line that you weren't compatible.
Correct.
Sexually.
Correct. You don't want to. You especially if you have a high sex drive. You don't want to. You don't want to know that you are an individual of a high sex drive, and then your mate is the total opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Whether the money is right and everything else is right, if the sex is not there, then there's a strain on the relationship.
I can totally agree. And I think, I don't know statistically where it falls in. I know finance is number one, but somewhere in there, sex definitely plays a big role in the reason why a lot of the marriages are breaking up today, and people are stepping out. So definitely, I agree with you.
Definitely.
I agree.
Sex is one of the number one reasons. Well, intimacy is one of the number one reasons why people get involved with each other in the first place.
That is correct.
So in order to keep things going, that intimacy level has to be maintained as well.
Right. Right. Okay, I love that. I love your answer on that. Basically, knowing one another intimately and maintaining it, because you can know one another intimately and you don't maintain it. You go in with this high sex drive because this person is attractive, this person is just the package, and then all of a sudden you get the person, and then you start dragging. So you have to be able to maintain that level. Don't go in, full throttle, and then can't keep it up. So be who you are. You in the beginning, that way you can maintain it throughout the relationship. I totally agree with you, Pearl. Exactly. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think society's view has changed on this topic? Especially when you compare it from when you were younger to now, do you think society's view has changed on sex being appropriate or recommended?
Yes, definitely. Lately we're seeing a lot more of the celebrities, and I'm only mentioning celebrities because that's who is usually on the forefront of everything.
Right, that's who you see. So, that's who y'all see, right.
Yes, so you see lots of celebrities. They are now just, what's the word? What's the political correct? Just shacking up, Yep. No one wants to get married anymore. And whoever, for those who are doing it in the celebrity world, how long does it last?
Right.
So most people just tend to just go along with it and just, okay, this is what's working for most people, so that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So it has changed, because back in our parents' time and way further back, that was frowned upon.
Right.
It was unacceptable, and now it's the most acceptable fad out there.
Right.
So
right.
Yes, I think it has, in society's eyes, it has changed a whole lot.
And I think you see it change across the different demographics. It's not just the youth anymore that are experiencing this level of intimacy prior to marriage. You also see it amongst those that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. while you're in the relationship, you realize, oh, my God. And then you're in the relationship. So what are you going to do? Are you going to leave your relationship because you're not sexually compatible? You know, so I definitely agree with you that, you know, our views, I think all of our views, I think most of us will agree, has changed. Whether we want to talk about it or not, whether we want to agree with it or not, has changed.
It has changed.
It has changed.
And it has to, because we as a society have changed. So our views have to change along with it. Our action has to change along with it. Everything has changed and is continuing to change.
I agree.
Whether we accept it or not, it's happening. We look now, we're into the technology, all computer, everything. Everything is on computer. And lots of our parents and grandparents, they don't want to get on board, but you have to.
Right. You either change with the past or it's going to leave you behind. Actually, the present is going to leave you behind. So I totally agree with you. Now, it's interesting that we're talking about sex right now, but I think another thing is friendship. What do you think? Do you think being friends with your spouse is an important part of marriage?
Could you repeat the question?
Do you think being friends with your spouse is an important part of marriage?
Definitely.
Okay. And when
Definitely.
I say friend, I'm talking about somebody, not just you meet a man, you know, you're compatible sexually, he's got the financials in order, you know, he's the man.
No.
But then you can't sleep with him.
That's not the definition of friendship.
Right.
First of all, it is majorly important because it is so difficult when two strangers coming together to live as one. Imagine if you were to be living with your friend, communicating with your friend, how much easier it will be.
Right.
And that's the whole idea of being in a relationship with your friend, marrying your friend. It makes it a whole lot more easier. And we as females, we know how much we like to talk and express our feelings. And our mate usually is the total opposite. Now, if you have started a relationship, a friendship with that person and maintained it throughout a period of time, and now realize, hey, we're in love, we should get married, and decide to do that, then you already set that foundation. You already have a friendship going. You already have a communication line set up. You already know and understand a whole lot more of this individual than you would have to deal with a stranger.
Right.
So that's why I think it's so much, so important to marry a friend. Have a friendship first prior to that ultimate step. Yes.
Right. Because definitely. I mean, we don't realize that, you know, marriage really is a commitment. You know, it's supposed to be a lifetime commitment. You know, whether we want to understand it or not, but marriage is basically you come together. It's a marriage. You live with somebody basically for the rest of your or his life. So, you know, I tend to see it as, well, that's what it should be, a friendship with commitment. Right.
So if you're in love with your friend,
right,
then you wouldn't want to hurt your friend. You wouldn't want to do anything to disappoint your friend.
Right.
And that's where that comes in, where, you know, you tend to look out for each other. You know, like how me and you, we do with each other. You tend to look out for each other. So that would, but then again, you know, no matter how much of a friend a man is, most of the time it's so much more difficult to maintain that friendship as opposed to the female friendship.
Female friendship. I agree with you. And you know, most of us, we all, I think, have had some BFF, you know, in our lifetime, you know, most of us. And, you know, it's hard to maintain a best friend relationship with two people who are of the same sex, let alone now you're trying to maintain the same level of friendship with your husband or your wife, and also trying to keep everything else intact, trying to keep the finances in order, trying to keep your household in order.